right, so I guess I need to read this preamble.
Yes, please.
All right, well, it is now 6:31. We're beginning the Monday, September 28th, 2020 meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission. And this is being carried out remotely as per Governor Baker's order. So pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, superseding certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, paragraph 18, and the governor's March 15th order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Norton Conservation Commission will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by the members of the public and/or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the end of this agenda. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately assess the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so despite our best efforts, we will post on the Norton Cable website an audio or video recording, transcript, and or comprehensive recording of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So unless we have other items, we can move on to our initial discussion, which would be the Eagle Scout presentation.
Yes. And I know it's going to take a minute, so let me get that on the screen. And I saw Franklin Cropley is on the call, so stop it and then make it start again. Okay, so Franklin, if you're on the call, you can unmute yourself and give your presentation.
All right, welcome, Franklin.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Well, thank you for inviting me. But my name's Franklin Cropley. I'm a candidate for. I am working towards my Eagle Scout rank, and this is my Eagle Scout project titled Operation Osprey. I built an Osprey platform in the middle of the Norton Reservoir. Next slide, please.
Oh, sorry, I forgot, that was me.
Not flying like an osprey.
Does not, yeah, hold on. Does not seem to want to go.
Yeah, I think if you scroll down, maybe, is that there you go.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
All right, so before I get into the Osprey platform, I'd like to talk first about ospreys themselves. So they're a large fish-eating bird that can be found all over the world, all 7 continents, excluding Antarctica. And strangely enough, it's the same species in every continent, which is very rare for birds. So they're a migratory bird, and they fly away from the equator during the spring, summer, and fall. During the spring they mate, but they mostly just follow the fish, which would also go up during the summer. So ospreys mate with each other for their entire lives and can lay 2 to 4 eggs per mating season. So every year, laying 2 to 4 eggs is good to keep the population going, because it's bad for the osprey population to stagnate, or worse, the population actually goes down. And as well as they can live for up to 15 years.
Great.
So the Osprey Nests, they're quite big. So in the picture you can see that's an actual Osprey platform. That's not mine, but so the nests can stay in use for up to 70 years. So it would be after generation would use the nests. And they use the same nest, so it'll progressively get bigger year after year. But if there aren't enough nests available, ospreys would have to wait for the next mating season to lay eggs. So it's critical for there to be enough nests available, or an osprey wouldn't get to mate, and it's a lost opportunity for the population to grow.
Going slower than there you go.
So ospreys mainly eat fish. It is 99% of their diet. And it doesn't matter what type of fish it is. It can be either saltwater, freshwater. It just has to be the size that it can be able to grasp it with its talons. So I wouldn't expect to see an osprey carrying off a tuna or anything like that. But they are the best, some of the best predators out there. They can see their prey from up to 130 feet in the air, in the water itself, because they're hunting fish. But they can also see the refraction of water in the fish. So when you see fish from above the water, you wouldn't be able, they would be in a different spot than what you see it as. The ospreys know that, and they know where to swoop down and grab them.
Wow.
They're also adapted that usually most birds would have three front talons and one talon in the back. An osprey, in order to catch like the slippery, slimy fish, they can move one of their toes back, so they'd have two in the front and two in the back. So make it easier compared to other birds. So this brings me to why I built the Osprey Platform. So on the intersection between Mansfield Avenue and the Reservoir Street, there's a cell tower, and within that cell tower, there's a nest on top of it. This isn't safe for ospreys. So cell towers and power lines are some of the most common spots, are the most common but dangerous spots for ospreys when they nest. It can cause power outages and fires. So not only is it dangerous for them, it can also be harmful for us as well. So it's really in everyone's best interest to create a safer home for the ospreys. I'm going for my Eagle Scout rank, and one of the major requirements of that is creating an Eagle Scout project. So the Eagle Scout project is a project that helps the community. So I thought that this help building an Osprey platform would help me get my Eagle Scout rank, and it would help the town in general. So it was really a win-win for everyone here. But the Eagle Scout rank is one of the most sought-after ranks in Boy Scouts. Only about 4% of Boy Scouts get it. And so it's a small group of people who are Boy Scouts, and even smaller group who are Eagle Scouts. And of those small group of Eagle Scouts, some of the top people in the world, top people in the United States are Eagle Scouts. So there's 4 Nobel Prize laureates are Eagle Scouts. Gerald Ford was an Eagle Scout. Steven Spielberg, Michael Moore. It's just a long list of some of the top people. Even Neil Armstrong. And so it can take several years to become an Eagle Scout. Like, I started Boy Scouts when I was 11. Now I'm 17. So it's taken 6 years, and I haven't taken any major breaks or anything like that. It's been dedication throughout these 6 years, and I'm just now built my Eagle Scout project. So here's a picture beforehand. The Osprey platform was built on an island and it wasn't even built on the island itself. So you can see in between the two islands there's a little channel of water. I built it in the shallow section there. So here's the actual Osprey platform, the finished thing. So as you can see, it's in the water. It is cemented into place. Me and Mr. Aruda, my mentor, last week took down the bracing that you can see on near the base of it. That was used to help keep it stable as the cement hardened. So it's already made it through one tropical storm. It's staying there. It won't be moving anytime soon. So some of the challenges that arose was that we were not allowed to use pressure treated wood. Anything that is built in water, any wood that's used to build in water can't be pressure treated, because pressure treating wood requires arsenic, which is dangerous for all marine life. So as well as we also worked in ankle deep water, which adds a whole new layer of difficulties when it comes to digging. Because we were on an island, there was no outlets, so I couldn't use any tools with cords. Everything had to be either manual labor or battery powered. And the Boy Scouts of America have safety regulations for people who are under 18 working on Eagle Scout projects. But as well as that, they've also added a new set of rules for the coronavirus. So it's another way to help to keep the people working safe in a different sense with the virus going around. It would help mitigate the spread, but it was still a challenge nonetheless. So I did my organizing was mostly during the fall and this winter. So it started roughly around September. I presented for the Norton Conservation Commission around then as well. My first idea was to build it in October. I definitely underestimated how difficult this would get around to. So then our second idea was to wait for the lake to freeze over. Then we could dig then, because there wouldn't be any water. The lake didn't freeze over. And then during the spring, the coronavirus came. So then we finally got around to it when the BSA brought in new safety regulations. And we felt it would be safe enough to work. But because of the coronavirus, I only had a small team that helped. So there was my family, the Aruda's family, and then 2 other scouts who were friends of mine. Just to keep the spread, just to mitigate the spread in general. But Mr. Aruda, my mentor, he helped me buy the right amounts of lumber and concrete. He owns Aruda Construction here in Norton, so I'm glad he was my mentor. When I was first buying the concrete, he said 8 bags of 80 pounds of concrete. Me and my dad looked at each other. We thought that was a little too much. But we used every bag, and we brought nothing back. So he knows his stuff when it comes to construction. So another section within an Eagle Scout project that isn't always shined on that much is the financial sides of it. So it's difficult to keep to create a budget and then keep the budget, build the project within that budget. So last fall I did a car wash, and then over the winter I got a donation from the AWC Family Foundation. So they're a conservation kind of charity foundation who helped fund it. I'm not gonna lie about this one. I cut it close. It was very, very close when I was ringing it up near the end. So I raised $760. I spent $752.83. that remaining that remaining $7.17 will be donated back to the AWC Family Foundation. When I see them, I will absolutely give them $8. They can keep the change. So when we first started building, I built the top of the platform, the 6x6 square, at my house with my dad and my brother. And we drilled that into place. And then when we went out onto the island, we attached the pole, which you can see in the picture, and the pipe together. The pole fit into the pipe like a sleeve, and then the top piece went on top, and we drilled all of that together at the island. That's a picture of my brother applying a water sealant to the pole. It's made of cedar, not pressure treated, and it helps. The water sealant just helps it be preserved better. So a few weeks before the building itself, I asked the Norton Highway Department to lower the water. But when they gave me a date on when the water would be actually lowered to a depth low enough that I wouldn't have to deal with the water, it was past the actual build date. So I couldn't able to do that. So we still had that challenge of the water. But I had two boats on hand. One was an aluminum skiff with an engine, and one was an inflatable. We used the inflatable as a barge that was tugged by the aluminum skiff. And in the picture you can see there's the pole, the pipe, and the platform, all in that one. And then we went back and forth a few more trips to bring the concrete over. So when we got the island, we had everything there. We cut the bottom out of a trash can and used it as it kind of dammed off the area where we started digging. So we put that into the ground, and then we pumped the water out. And then we started digging with postal diggers. We drilled everything to we drilled the platform together, really. And then we raised all of it up into the trash can. So it was difficult near the end when we had to lift the platform. Even though it wasn't pressure treated, it was still very heavy. And that was all hands were on deck when we lifted that. That's fine. It's the next slide. So another portion that I added to the project was educating others. So I created pamphlets with information about ospreys, and I put this brochure holder with the small pamphlets on it there, and I gave some to Mr. Lennon of the Norton Kayak Company. I plan on printing about 200 more pamphlets, so I can keep that one filled and make sure Mr. Lennon has a steady supply. And then I also gave some to Mr. Smith, who is the director of the Blue Hills Trailside Museum in the Norton Smith Environmental Education Center. I interviewed Mr. Smith about ospreys over the winter, and I've stayed in touch with him throughout the project. So when I created the first rough draft of the pamphlet, that was the first person I emailed with it to make sure everything was up to date and correct. So he knows everything when it comes to ospreys. It was definitely a great resource to have, a lot better than just like a Wikipedia page. So But he also, when I showed him the final one, he asked if he could use that for his Raptor programs, which I'm extremely excited and happy to give to him. So, this was a post on Facebook about an hour after we finished building it. So, this is a different Mr. Smith who was on his Hobie, and he already got a picture of it. So people were already noticing it right as we built it. That is the day we built it, July 15th. So here's some photos of each things that we did. So this was me and my dad constructing the top of the platform. So we had a wood square, and we put on metal mesh underneath it, so it made it lighter, and as it rained, water could go through it, and it would make it a strong spot for the big sticks that would be used for the nest, and anything else like water or feces to go through. So here's me applying other water sealant coat. We applied a couple of coats to it, so I did that coat. We used canoes for the Boy Scouts who were going, so everyone used canoes pretty much except my dad, who towed the material over. So here's us talking. Here's us discussing the project at the boat landing. So you can see the poles on the inflatable, and the platform top is in Shauna's hand. So here's me and my brother in a canoe, canoeing off to the island. And then here's my dad towing the materials to it. So here's where we began digging. So me, my friends Derek and Dennis, we each had a postal digger, and we each took turns going around taking dirt out. It made it a lot less labor intensive as just one guy doing it and everyone else standing around and watching. So here's us pumping the water out. If you can see, there's a big difference between the water in the bucket, in the trash can, and out of the trash can. By the end, water would get in. So water seeped in from the bottom and then went across. It's just like it's like a vacuum. So it went underneath the trash can itself and started filling up again. So it became harder and harder the further down we got. So here's my brother and Shauna in the inflatable bringing concrete back and forth. So they put the concrete on the inflatable, and they were just being towed back and forth. So there's my brother sledgehammering the stakes that would be used for the brackets once the pole was lifted up. Here's us drilling everything together. So we lined up a few canoes, and then we put the pole and we put the PVC and then we slid the pole in, drilled that into one piece, put a little cross beam underneath, and then drilled the box onto everything. Just make everything is strong. So here's us raising the pole. It was heavy, so we kind of used the trash can, and we kind of pried it up that way. And it was difficult. It was harder the farther we got up, because at the beginning you could be at the very end and start lifting, but soon there's less and less space to start lifting it near the end. So here's attaching the brackets to the pole. So before we put the concrete in, it was just to keep it steady. So there's me using a level. We kept it level there because up there it's 12, 13 feet up in the air. So if it's not level at the bottom, it would be very crooked near the top. So here's us laying stones around the bottom of it. It just made it, give it a more natural look, make it a more, just a nicer look in general, as well as making it so when the concrete's on it, it doesn't look, give it an industrial look. I wanted to keep it, it's a conservation project. I wanted to make it look environmental. So here's us packing up. Only one trip back. It was only pretty much tools. All the materials were used. Every bag of concrete. So, and that's us somewhat posing in front of the Osprey Platform. So I was glad it was a nice day there. At that point, it was cloudy throughout most of the day, but near the end it got lighter. Of course, when we started finishing. So that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
I think that came out great, Franklin. Very nice job. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say also an excellent presentation. I learned a lot about ospreys, and I'm actually at the edge of the Norton Reservoir, and I'll have to get out some binoculars tomorrow to see if I can see it from where I am now. So thank you for that presentation. A great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Franklin.
Thank you.
All right. And so I guess any further comments or questions about this project?
No, and just let Franklin know that I signed your forms, and so they're in the conservation office. So if you want to give a call tomorrow, Melissa will be in the office and she can meet you at the door if you want to pick it up tomorrow. Otherwise, I can mail it, or we can make arrangements to pick it up Wednesday.
Yeah, I think Wednesday. No, yeah, tomorrow will be fine. All right, thank you.
Okay, just call first so she knows.
Yep, I'll call ahead.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So I think we can move on to our next item, which is listed as Rail Trail and Article 97 issues. I assume have a presenter for that, although I don't see, or is this a discussion among the commission members only?
No, town council is supposed to be here, but they're not on the call yet. I don't see town council on the call.
All right, well, maybe what we can do is table this until later in the meeting. If they join us, we can take it up at that time.
Yes.
All right, so the next item listed on the agenda has to do with the resignation, excuse me, of Scott Ollerhead, our existing chair. Should we take up reorganization of the board at this time or at the end of the meeting? What is the preference? What we have to do is
You have to choose one by the end of the night, I'm telling you.
Well, okay. I'm just going to detail what's on the table, and that is we have to select a new chair and potentially confirm me as vice chair. How's that sound?
Oh, I was going to make a motion to the opposite effect, Julian, and that is that if you take chair, I'll take vice.
Well, okay. Who knows? I may stub my toe quite often and be unable to chair. Well, all right. I'll accept being chair. And I don't know what kind of a formal vote we need for that. Do we need a?
You need a formal vote. Yep.
All right. Well, so Lisa made a motion that I be chair, and we need a second.
I'll second that.
And so we'll need a roll call vote. Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Dan Pearson? Oh, Dan, your audio before was kind of inaudible, so you may need to find a way to connect if you're unable to respond now.
Put your hand up.
Well, I think that was an I. Okay. Are you under the reservoir? All right. Well, at the moment, your audio connection is not suitable, so you may want to find a new way to connect. But Lisa?
Aye.
All right. I'll agree to also be chair. So I'm going to move then that Lisa be vice chair. And
Second.
we have a second from Dan Doyle. And so Gene, aye, nay.
Aye.
And Dan Doyle,
Aye.
Dan Pearson. You might want to mail in your vote.
So Dan, are you on the phone or are you on the computer?
Okay. Well, I'll say aye. And I think that carries, right? We have 4. Lisa, you agree?
Aye. Yes.
Okay. All right. Organization, I think, is complete. Or do we have another? We don't have any other office too. Okay.
Nope, that's it.
All right. So our next item on the agenda has to do with the notice of intent, DEP number 250-1063, concerning Norton Water and Sewer Department for 0 King Philip Road. This has to do with 2 replacement wells. And I think, so we needed revised plans. I assume that's been obtained. Yes, it says.
Yep. They provided everything the day of the meeting, the last meeting, and we've had time to review it. So we're all set. You have all the information you need and you can close.
All right. So I can entertain that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Gene and seconded by
Second.
by Lisa. Roll call. Gene.
Aye.
Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
Dan Pearson. You're now looking like you're muted. If you can unmute. Are you on a different device? All right, you're not muted now, Dan. Come in, please. All right, I'm going to throw in an aye on that, so we can close. That's a close. So should we take up the order of conditions now? There's not much there that I saw was.
Nope, I have a few of the quantities just to put in there, but other than that, it's ready for your review.
Okay, I did have a few comments on this. It's probably just points of clarification. So we list the resource areas and we say there's no alteration to bank, there's no alteration to, I think that was the only one we said. So is there no alteration to BDW, I assume?
Correct.
The alterations, all right, so we should probably just put after at the conclusion of number 2.
Okay, sure.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. You had a question about 17C, about a visual barrier. Did we decide anything on that?
You haven't, that's why I put the question mark.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of an isolated area. It's not really a lawn care zone. So I think visual barrier really doesn't apply here myself.
I agree.
Okay, so we're crossing that one off.
Yep.
Yep.
And then, let's see. Okay, the 38 series installation.
Yep.
Okay, so 40 fill shall not be spread or graded on the site within wetland resource. Okay, so that includes BLSF, resource areas. Were we going to have somebody witness this in case, while they were pumping, in case it did overflow?
That you can make that condition.
Is there some is there going to be anybody from the town or anybody from was it West End Sampson out there witnessing this?
Tara's on the call. We can ask her.
Yes, we will have somebody on site during the 48-hour pumping test. So when we are pumping into that bag, we will have somebody overseeing the driller.
Okay, and that person has authorization to stop or implement additional BMPs just in case?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So then that's good. So 43, Jen, the floodplain compensation, was that graded in the final plans?
There's a detail on the final plans, yeah.
Okay. And then 45, you just had a...
It's just for you to fill that in, yep.
Okay.
The amount.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay,
So
then the standard no disturbance zone conditions at 48, 49, you want those removed, correct? Or just the one about the visual barrier?
Just the visual, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I had.
All right, so I have no further comments myself. Anybody else on the commission have comments? If not, we can consider a motion to approve the orders for 250-1063
As edited.
as edited.
So moved.
Motion by Lisa and seconded by, was that Jean?
I'll second it, yes.
Okay. All right, so roll call, Jean
Aye.
and Dan Doyle
Aye.
and Lisa.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an I. It looks like for the moment we lost Dan Pearson, unless the phone number, the 285-3450, is that's not Dan
No,
Pearson.
I think he was doubt call was already on there.
Okay. All right. Well, the motion carries, so we can move on to our next item, which is concerning file number 250-1067, Steve Schleidel, 116 Lincoln Street, for a project, a proposed project to construct a single-family home within 100 foot of bordering vegetated wetlands. So this is a new project, is that correct? All right, and we have a representative of the applicant.
Yes, this is Tim McGuire from Guard Consulting. Can you hear me?
We can. And it looks like we're trying to get the plan up on the screen.
Yeah, Jennifer, I have a colored up version of the plan. If you want me to do a screen share, I can show it from my end. Or it looks like you've got one there.
This is all I colored, so if you have something different, we can do that.
Yeah, sure. I'll do a screen share if that's all right.
Okay, you should be all set.
All right, can everyone see that?
We can.
All right.
Yes.
Well, good evening to members of the commission. Thank you all for hearing this hearing tonight. My name is Tim McGuire. I'm a wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting here on behalf of the applicant, Steve Skydell, for the construction of a single-family house within buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands. So here I'll kind of zoom into this left-hand graphic, if it'll load on me. That kind of shows the entirety of the site at the property addressed at 116 Lincoln Street in Norton. So resources on site running along the western portion of the parcel include a bank of an intermittent stream bordering vegetated wetlands and a potential vernal pool. It's a fairly large site, and we've been able to restrict development to the small bottom right-hand portion of it here. You can see my mouse as well if I'm using that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So then here we have kind of a zoomed in view showing the work in the proposed house, a compost stock, compost silt sock is being proposed along the limit of work as erosion control, and all work is being kept outside of the town's 25-foot no disturb policy. And I've highlighted in red here the portions of the house and driveway that fall within buffer zone. There's septic proposed within buffer zone. A roof recharge system is proposed outside. And fortunately, we had the opportunity to run a iteration of the plan by Jennifer prior to the hearing. We made all of the revisions that she requested. The site falls within Natural Heritage Priority Mapped Habitat. We've received confirmation from their office that this project, as proposed, will not adversely impact habitat on site, and it does not result in a take. So we would like to open it up to any questions from the commission and respectfully request the issuance of an order of conditions.
Tim, what's the size of the silt sock you're proposing?
8 inches. It's shown in the detail up in the top left-hand corner.
Okay. Typically, we wouldn't do less than 10.
Is that something that you would like to condition, if possible? I'm sure that the applicant would be willing to abide by that.
Yeah, they can condition that. And the no disturbance zone is, within the 100 feet. It's not set at 25 as the plan's been revised to show that. So it's correct on the plan now.
Were there any other questions for any members of the commission?
The only issue, it says it needs the natural heritage, is it?
We did receive that letter.
Oh, okay. So that's so this can be considered for closing then.
You can. It would be mostly boilerplate conditions, but we would have to mention Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program, the change to the silt sock, and the next meeting is more than 21 days away. So unless, I can mail the draft order of conditions, otherwise you understand the changes that I just mentioned.
Do you think it would be acceptable to the applicant that we can continue it with the idea that we likely will complete the orders of conditions at the next meeting?
The applicant is closing on the property within the next couple of weeks, and if possible, he'd like to have it closed. I could pick up a draft order from the town hall at any time that's convenient, if that's easier and more efficient than mailing it.
The draft isn't for you, the draft is for the commission, and we do electronic signatures, so we'd be emailing the order and then sending the hard copy regular mail or certified mail.
I see, but when it comes to that, would it be easier or more efficient to kind of streamline the process if I pick that up, or if not, we can go with the process of this and just certified mail it?
The process is for the commission to review the draft. So typically they would do that at the next meeting. the next meeting is 3 weeks away. It's 21 days away. So he's asking you to continue to the next meeting and have conditions ready for that night so they have time to review the draft order.
Yeah, I mean, do you think at the closing they would accept our word that we see nothing controversial and that we will be producing the order at our next meeting?
Yes, that sounds acceptable. I can relay that information to the client, and if you could even get that in writing, send me a memo or anything outlining that, that'd be appreciated as well.
I don't know, can we send an email to that effect, Jen, after the draft is considered? Or I mean, this is...
I was writing the notes then, so...
Yeah, well, I guess well, I need some kind of indication that the commission sees no problems in order to present to, I guess, the closing lawyer.
Do you want to stop sharing the screen?
Oh, yeah.
We're still going to have a 10-day appeal period as well. What is the exact date of the closing?
It's mid-October, the 14th, I believe. I would have to double check that.
I mean, at that point, it's going to be at the applicant's own risk because, you know, there's still the 10-day appeal period.
Sure, I understand that. But just if it was possible, if there was any kind of confirmation that the commission sees no problems with this proposal and intends to issue the order at the next hearing, that would be appreciated. If it's not possible, we understand.
All right.
No, I can send that kind of an email.
All right.
Right,
And we
but once the public hearing, we intend to issue the order.
Sure, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we don't need a confirmation vote on that, is that?
No.
Okay, all right, so I guess we're all set then. Now, actually,
Need a motion to close?
well, either a motion, we actually need a motion to continue so that we can close at the next meeting.
I'll make that motion.
All right, motion to continue, made by Gene and seconded by
Second.
Dan Doyle. Roll call, Gene.
Aye.
Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there's Dan Doyle.
We
Dan
can.
Pearson.
No.
Oh.
Other Dan.
Dan Pearson
Yes,
is
can you hear
made
me?
up above the surface of the water. We can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Aye to this one and all the previous ones.
All right. Fair enough.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we're going to move on to.
And sorry, what's the date that this is?
File number
Can you do-
250-1060.
It's 1019.
1019. All right, thank you very much.
All right, and so this concerns Alice Dumaningo, Realty Trust, 64 Elm Street. That has been continued for a couple of previous meetings. Proposed project is repair or replace existing septic system with associated grading. So it says this is still before the Board of Health and was a continuation formally requested.
They did request a continuance to 1019. They just got comments back from the Board of Health's peer reviewer, and they should be all set by the next meeting.
All right, I'll make a motion to
All
continue
right.
hearing for file 250-1060 to the 1019.
Motion made by Lisa and
I'll second.
Second.
all right, we got a whole slew of seconds. I'll say seconded by Dan Pearson. Roll call, Gene.
Aye.
Dan Doyle.
Aye.
Lisa.
Aye.
And Dan Pearson.
Aye.
And I'll say an aye. So we're all set with that continuation. And we have notice of intent, file number 250-1059, AR Building Company, 195 Mansfield Avenue, continued from previous 3 meetings. The comment is Chesia has, Chesia's comments were forwarded, and have they requested a continuance while they're responding to those comments?
They have. They requested a continuance to 11/9.
11/9. Okay, we can entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to continue file 250-1059 to 11/9, was it?
If that's correct.
Yes.
All right.
I'll second.
And a motion made by Dan Pearson and seconded by Gene. All those in favor, a roll call. Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And I'll throw in an aye. And our next item is, so this is,
Keep going on that one.
so we comment on this?
Nope.
Or
Need to do anything. You can go to item F.
item F. Okay, so we have, I think, orders of conditions for item F, which is attachment E. I didn't see anything odd that I would modify, but any comments on item E?
Nope, I didn't have any either, so I would make a motion to issue the order of conditions for 250-1066.
All right, motion made by Lisa and seconded by?
I'll
Second that.
second.
We have dueling. I think Dan Doyle got on there as the second first. So roll call vote. Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And I'll say an aye. And our next item is item G. The notice of intent or order of conditions for file number 250-1061, Judge Rottenberg Educational Center, and that's attachment F. Any questions, comments, revisions? I didn't have any that I felt were needed.
I didn't either, so make a motion to issue the order conditions for 250-1061.
Motion made by
Second.
Lisa and seconded by Dan Pearson. Roll call. Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
And Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And I'll say aye as well. So our next item is Hannah, concerning file number 250-1064, Hannah Norwood, 3 Mary Jo Road. This is also an order of conditions. I have a little difficulty remembering exactly which project. Was this the one that had previously had an order and then had to be refiled?
Right.
Okay.
It had expired and nothing had happened. But I noticed that it says amended order of conditions at the top. Strike that.
Okay.
There's also typo on number 8, Jen.
Okay.
Should say met instead of need.
Thank you.
So the conditions relative to NESHAP basically verbatim?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Instead of retype, I always ask them, just send it to me in Word so I can copy paste so it's exactly the way Natural Heritage said.
Right. Okay, so there's no other reference to an amended order except in the heading, the
Just the
order.
head. Yep.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to issue order conditions for file number 250-1064 as discussed.
Motion made by Lisa, seconded by
Second.
It sounded like Dan Doyle, was it?
It was, yes.
Okay, and roll call vote, Gene
Aye.
and Dan Doyle, I assume an aye.
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Dan Pearson,
Aye.
and I'll throw in an aye. All right. That brings us to a request for a duplicate full certificate of compliance for DEP file number 250-468, and that has to do with Town of Norton, Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, 44 Bay Road. They dropped it in the wrong file cabinet.
Already been issued. The certificate of compliance had already been issued. It was just lost and not recorded, so they just need a duplicate.
So it sounds pretty challenging or
Controversial.
non-controversial, exactly. Was that a motion, Dan Pearson?
Sure, why not?
All right.
I'll make the motion to issue
A non-controversial duplicate.
a non-controversial duplicate, yes, for file
Second.
25. I'll just let you speak.
Oh, looking for a second.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion made by Dan Pearson, seconded by Lisa. All those in favor, roll call. Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
And Dan Pearson.
Aye.
And myself, I'll say an aye, so that passes. Next item is also a duplicate full certificate of compliance for file number 250-570 for Lake Winnicott Association, Barbara Brady, 44 Bay Road. And that looks also non-controversial. I can entertain an order.
I'll make the motion we issue a full certificate of compliance for file 250-570.
All right, motion made by Dan Doyle, and it looked like Dan Pearson was ready to second it.
I will be happy to second it.
All right, so motion made and seconded. Gene, roll call vote.
Aye.
All right, and Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. And the last one here is full certificate of compliance. This is not a duplicate for Timberstone Custom Builders, 116 Lincoln Street. Project never started. Okay, so it is also non-controversial. Okay to issue.
Correct.
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. I'll make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP 250-466.
Man, motion made by Dan Pearson and seconded by?
Second.
By Dan Doyle. Roll call. Gene?
Aye.
And Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Aye.
Dan Pearson?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. So looks like there were no administrative approvals, but we do have a set of draft minutes for our last meeting, 9/14. I didn't see anything that I would recommend modifying. Anybody else see anything that they would amend?
You look good to me.
Without further comments, we can consider a motion to approve the minutes of 9/14.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Gene and seconded by
Second.
Dan Doyle. And I don't know, do we need a roll call vote for this too?
Yes.
All right, Gene?
Aye.
Dan Doyle?
Aye.
Lisa?
Abstain.
Oh, were you not here?
Not here.
Yes, you were not here. All right, well, I'll throw in an aye and then Dan Pearson?
Aye.
Okay, it looks like we have a new member in the audience.
Yes, Mike Units is joining us for the rail trail and Article 97 discussion.
Just in time.
You're on mute though, Mike.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
I just wanted to give you some idea of what we're looking at here. And I'm sorry, I thought the attorney was going to be on who could have spoke better to this than I can. But as part of the bike trail project, one of the things we were looking at is there's a parcel of land on the intersection of Hill and Crane Street. And it's on the south side of Crane Street and the west side of Hill. And I believe it's about 12,000 square feet. And as part of the bike trail project, we were looking to use that parcel as parking. And as part of that, it was discovered that it is Chapter 97. So the Conservation Commission would have to approve transferring that parcel back to the Board of Selectmen for use as a parking area for the bike trail.
All right, and then as part of the Article 97 requirement, there has to be the fair value exchange, and is that some other parcel that is not in Article 97?
That is something that we have to look at and find a parcel that is similar, that I would have to review with Jennifer, that would meet all the requirements, not just any parcel. I know it would have to be a parcel that would be a similar parcel and be equal or better to that.
Mm-hmm. And I guess my question is with regard to the process. We need to, as a commission, vote unanimously, but without that equivalent parcel, is our vote going to be meaningful or legal, even for that matter? And this is a question I can't answer. Maybe the lawyer, the legal representation could have, but that was the potential difficulty we were discussing.
Yep.
Jennifer, does it say in the policy anywhere?
I'm sorry?
Does it say in the policy anywhere in terms of timing? It says the acquisition of
Can you see the screen for the policy?
yeah, but before this.
Yeah. Well, it says it has to comply with the Article 97 land disposition policy. And so in the beginning, this is the...
Right, that's what I'm looking for. The stuff up front that maybe talks about when.
Well, it starts with all other options to avoid the disposition have been explored. So maybe, Mike, you can talk about any other parcels that were looked at.
Yeah, so Mike, is this only parking lot along the entire trail in Norton that's dedicated just to this rail trip, or?
There is a small amount of parking on the Dahl property up on North Washington Street. But other than that, there is no rail set dedicated parking.
So the town doesn't own any other lots along the route between the Dahl property and the town line, I would assume?
Not that I know of right now, no. Question to, and I don't know if Jennifer, you'd be able to answer this, because it would be a legal question, is I don't know if the wording in a town meeting article could say that the town supports this pending conservation. See, I don't know what has to come first. to be honest with you. And that's something I'd have to get from the attorney, whether town meeting could support it, but it had to be subject to a unanimous vote of the Conservation Commission. I don't know if that's possible.
I think the Concom has to go first. I think, in fact, it's in the correct order here.
Yeah.
As I understand it.
That's the way I understand it as well. It's
Right.
starts with the Concom, and then it goes to town meeting, and then it goes to the legislature.
Okay.
Right, because you wouldn't bother with it at town meeting if it never even made it, past us, past the
Okay.
first stop. So.
Yeah. If we go to the start of the process, I mean, number one is all other options to avoid the article number disposition have been explored, and it doesn't meet that. So if we don't go by the letter of the procedure, all of those votes are just going to be invalidated by legal review. So that's a problem.
Okay.
I mean, do you have an alternative interpretation or not?
I don't. So I would just suggest that this be put on a future agenda of the commission.
Okay. So Mike, we picked this agenda because our next meeting is October 19th.
Yeah, I understand.
It's 2 days after town meeting.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. So
If it's something that has to wait until May, then it has to wait until May.
okay. That might make for a better package because that'll give us time to put all of this information together for that vote. So is it able to wait until May?
I know the state's always going to say no, but I think I'll talk to them and let you know. But I think it can.
Because they haven't applied for the actual wetland permits through us yet.
No.
How close are they with all of the other easements?
The title search is almost complete, and so then they'll be moving forward with those takings.
And what do they think their anticipated start date is?
2022, sometime in 20. It's on the tip for 2022.
Okay. I guess we have another couple of weeks then.
Well, you wouldn't believe how they push. They're really pushing to get everything done in advance, so that everything is done by, I believe it's next October, so it can be on the tip for 2022.
Yeah, and we can certainly appreciate that and understand it, but to sort of ask us to rubber stamp it.
No.
There's
Yep.
2 years. I mean, I have no problem helping with this and going through the whole thing and finding the appropriate property and writing this all up appropriately.
All right, and I guess that was my question: is who gets designated as carrying out the first step, which is looking at other parcels and certifying that there are no other parcels. So is that going to be you, Jen, or?
It certainly looks like it's dropping in my lap, but I mean, I can't get that done before town meeting.
No.
No, I agree, but if we're going to try to avoid another problem, we need to define that step right now, or at least, an organized approach toward that step.
Yeah.
And then closely following is finding the equivalent fair market value property.
Correct.
So has the property been appraised yet?
No.
No, we can't find the equivalent until it's appraised, though, right?
All right.
And I appreciate you letting me come on to. I'm sorry the attorney couldn't be on, but thank you for letting me come on to explain it to you.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I think Jen has complained about having too much free time, so I think right.
I hear that all the time.
Hold on, you saw my office report.
All right, so at least we have a beginning plan with this then?
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, very good.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Well, let's see, we left off
Left off at new business.
new business.
So the cranberry bogs on the solar project on the cranberry bogs, they've prepared their draft environmental impact statement. And so comments are due on the 9th. It's about this thick. So my comments will be ready kind of last minute.
So it was an EIR for MIPA?
Yeah. Well, they
Okay.
did the ENF and the secretary's certificate said, no, come back with an EIR.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the nexus of the comments that forced them into the EIR that they were deficient on?
I think most of it were abutter comments.
Okay.
And so DEP cannot make a decision on the request for an appeal by the applicants until after the secretary's certificate is issued.
Yeah.
All right.
Comments, John?
I'm sorry?
Will you be providing any additional comments on the EIR?
I will be. I just haven't had time to read the 3-inch binder yet, but that'll have to be done before the 9th.
Okay.
What does EIR stand for again?
Environmental Impact Report.
Oh, okay.
There's the link on the agenda if you want to pop it open and read it.
I assumed it was environmental impact something. I just didn't know what.
Yes.
All right, so if we're all set with that, we can move on to the old business items.
Yes, old business. We did notice a new violation that the culvert had been replaced on Leonard Street without a wetland permit. And that 184 West Main Street had the violation of the riverfront area being cleared. They were supposed to replant that in the spring. It ended up finally hearing from them, I think, in June. Then they said, we're not getting enough water. We'd like to do this in September. And I had emailed them twice saying, hey, it's September. We need an update. And that we expected them to provide me with a plan and when they're starting before the end of September. Otherwise, you might have to revise your enforcement order.
Where's 184 West Main?
It's in the same, I forget what the outdoor, like, sports pub bar is out front.
Yep.
Yeah, Dan, you're cutting out of.
So,
Sorry?
because we're in a drought, I assume they can't water anything.
I mean, we're in a drought. I don't know if they.
So we may have to carry the enforcement order to allow them to do it next spring,
You
or
may have to, but I would like to hear from them.
yep.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking we're getting into the fall weather pattern and the drought will become alleviated. But I don't know. I think they could make an effort, or at least, give us their thoughts about whether or not they want to make an effort.
I've requested it twice.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens there. And then the only other thing on the agenda is just that Fall Town meeting is October 17th at 1 o'clock. One item not on the agenda, I just want to remind everybody about the master plan meeting this Wednesday night, and it's all about open space, so it's a good one to attend if you can. I can resend the link if you like.
What time is that,
Thank you.
October?
I think it's at 7.
Okay.
But very important to get the open space stuff in the master plan as well.
Yeah, that would be great if you could resend the link.
Sure. I can do that.
All right.
That's all I had.
Okay. Peter had a chat item here, or
We did.
Peter Wiggins. It looks like he sent the chat, but I don't see it.
It just says yes.
All right, how are you, Peter?
Doing good, doing good.
All right, well, I think we're at the end of our agenda, and unless there's further discussion, we can consider a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All right. Motion by Dan Pearson, seconded by
I'll second.
Gene. All those in favor
Aye.
Aye.
are adjourned.
All right, thank
Alright.
you.
Good night.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Good night.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, everybody.